Yes, welcome back to the channel. The Premier League season is only 3 days away. So we thought we'd do some Premier League predictions, 1 to 20. Going to be very unlikely we're going to get it all right, but we're here today joined by Alice Talks Football. Make sure you get over to her channel and subscribe. I'll leave her second channel pinned in the description as well. But Alice, the Premier League season's 3 days away. How are you feeling?
Oh, it's weird. I've Man United haven't had the best results in pre-season, but we've looked a lot better football-wise and possession-wise. And I think it could be a better season for Man United, but you just don't know because I thought we looked right last pre-season. I'm happy with the signings, but I think it's also transfer window where everyone's sort of doing their business a lot later. So I think my general thoughts could change a lot in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, one thing, obviously, last night, the Zubimendi rejection from Liverpool, he's rejected Arsenal, he's rejected Bayern Munich, and it's just kind of put the spotlight on Liverpool. I think the transfer window, I think you're right. I think a lot more deals will happen in the next coming weeks because obviously the Euros and the Copa America. But for me, I think personally, this is the hardest Premier League predictions I've had to do since I've been doing it. I think the top two, I'm pretty sure we can guarantee who's going to be those two. But we just said, off air, from third to arguably 10th, I think it's going to be a raffle. But we'll get into it. We're going to jump straight in. Premier League predictions. Now, I know you've already filmed one of these, but I don't really know the ins and outs. The $1 million question: who is going to win the Premier League?
I hate to say this. I think it's going to be Arsenal's year, and I think it's going to be unbearable when they win it. But I think every year they've improved under Arteta. Second to the final day. Every single year they've shown progress under Arteta. Defensively, they're a rock. Calafiori and Timbers basically two new signings for the defense. They're already a rock there. Kai Havertz really became a good player at the end of the season. They're gelling. They know what Arteta wants to do. They're trying these new sort of systems with Declan Rice in this left 8 role in their last preseason game, which could be a suggestion of what Mourinho will do. I think particularly because they're probably going to get Mourinho and potentially another attacker. I think it is Arsenal's year, especially with Arsenal. I think just actually starting to get slightly better options than City in terms of depth. With City's dependence on Rodri, I think the trial of FFP looming over Man City has affected their ability to bring in signings this summer because they could be relegated in like January if they get found guilty. So yeah, sadly, I mean, to be fair, I guess Arsenal winning it's better than Man City doing 5 in a row, but I think it is Arsenal's year.
No, it's not. I'd rather City win it. I mean, I can't stand Arsenal. I mean, we've both been very complimentary on their, Calafiori, Marino. I still think they need one more attacker, whether it's going to be a number 9 or not. Eddie Nketiah is still to Marseille's off. Is it going to be a wire player? We thought it might be Pedro Neto. He's now joined Chelsea for whatever reason. I hope he's looking forward to Conference League nights. For me, the big thing is if Man City bring another midfielder, and I think they will, but I don't know if it's going to be the quality of a Rodri. He for me is the most important person in that entire team. You could probably argue the most important player to a system in the league. When he's not there, they don't look as much fluid. I think they lost 2 and drew a game when he wasn't there last season. Kovacic is probably going to be the replacement if Rodri gets injured. Then you also think he went all the way to the Euros final and unfortunately beat us. Has he got more room in the tank? I'm not so sure, but I do agree with you. Arsenal, it's going to pain me, and I'm going to get absolute pelters over social media, so I can't stand them. But I do think this is going to be their year. I'm assuming we're both going to go with Man City finishing second.
Yeah, I would have put Man City second easily.
So now this is the big question: let me just go and grab Man City from down here. Who finishes third? Because as we just mentioned, everywhere from Man City below, you've got the Villa, you've got Chelsea, obviously United, Tottenham, Liverpool, West Ham have done some great business. I'm not saying they're going to get third, but Newcastle as well without no European football. I think it's going to be the most competitive Premier League season we are likely to see. I'm still probably going to edge Liverpool third, but I don't know what your thoughts are.
In terms of quality and the players they have, Liverpool easily third best. It's just about Slot. He's looked really good in pre-season. They've looked really good, but he's not getting Subamende. He's not getting any signings in. You know, David Moyes took over a Premier League winning side, and the only signing he got was Fellaini, and he struggled. Obviously, Slot better than David Moyes, and Liverpool's team actually that he's taken over, I think, is on paper younger and fresher and more suited to the Premier League. I think Slot should get third, but I do think the element of him not being backed in Liverpool, showing no ambition yet in the window is probably a worrying thing for Liverpool fans. But they've got Richard Hughes, they've got Michael Edwards. I'm just sure they're going to bring in two really good signings before the end of the window. And I think Slot will probably get third. But again, I think it massively depends on injuries. You know, some teams will be in Europe playing more games than others. I think a lot of it will depend on injuries because Man United and Newcastle both basically broke the record for the most injuries last season. And could they push it a bit more? We've seen Ten Hag go out and get third when the odds are against him. Newcastle more than capable of getting top four. But no, I'd say Liverpool third.
The only thing with Liverpool that I've got huge question marks is, and I don't know if this could play a part towards the latter stages of the season, is Van Dijk, Salah and Trent have all got 1 year left on the contract. Now, they are three key pieces to their team, very influential players in the dressing room. Obviously, the Liverpool captain, Liverpool's own Trent Alexander-Arnold, and of course, they're arguably their greatest, one of their greatest Premier League players in Mohamed Salah. Do you not think, though, if, you know, Real Madrid links come in for Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then the contract side of things, that is the only, I think, scenario that could throw Liverpool off. And then obviously Man United could come in, or Chelsea, plus Liverpool have got Champions League without any signings, only bringing in a Georgian goalkeeper potentially. I think that's even worse than giving Man United Fellaini. Like, I think that's arguably Liverpool's worst window in like, to give them a goalkeeper who's going to be loaned back to Valencia when, let's be honest, they've got the best keeper in the league, in my opinion. They don't need, and I don't understand building for the future, but Arne Slot's for the here and now. And if he's evaluated that entire squad and said, do you know what, I'm fine with this, I just need a goalkeeper brought back on loan, I'm struggling to, like, I agree with my opinion, but then I'm thinking towards the latter stage, could Liverpool fall off? Do you see it like that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility. I think the lack of number 6, and I don't think Slot rates Endo is the issue, because I think Gravenberch could maybe do a job in a 6 role potentially. Like, I think he's got some attributes, but again, they don't have a natural 6, and it's the balance. And I think in the Premier League, with just how good the competition has become, they could struggle. But I'm going to put them third because I just think that Hughes and Edwards are very clever people. It's very uncharacteristic for them to be mucking about like this in the window. I think Liverpool will pull something out of the bag last minute. They missed out on Caicedo, Enzo, Bellingham, in 2023, and everyone took the mick out of them. And McAllister, Endo had good seasons. Szoboszlai was a good signing, and Gravenberch showing potential. So I think they'll probably get third and pull something out of the bag.
Yeah, I mean, if they've got a very intelligent person there in Edwards, they could quite easily announce a huge signing tonight, and then all of a sudden everyone's opinions will change. Fourth, the last position in the top 4. Now, of course, with the coefficients points, England could get a Champions League position 5th going into the following season. But fourth, now, I personally think it will be Man United. I think you've had a great window. I don't know why everyone's giving De Ligt this amount of stick. The guy's won a Scudetto, he's won a Bundesliga, he's won an Eredivisie, he knows Ten Hag. All this rubbish coming out that Eric Dyer started over him. No, I know Eric Dyer better than 90% of people, and he's not a better centre-back than De Ligt. It was just purely injury side of things. I think Mizraoui, the Moroccan guy you brought in, obviously knows Ten Hag as well. Van Nistelrooy will be a very, very important keg to all this. His coaching methods. The only, I think, trouble you're going to have is the start of the season. Who's going to, Højlund being out, Europa League there's a lot more games in and around the group stage this year. Your squad's going to be tested a lot more. Last year, you had a lot of injuries. I think you had on average two injuries a week for the last 2 months. But I still think Man United will get it done. I think you've got a better squad. And I'm probably going to get pelters to this. I think you've got a better squad than Chelsea in terms of output. Like, I think Bruno Fernandes gets a lot of stick. I think Chelsea have got huge question marks over there. Yes, again, they're getting understudies to understudies. New profile in Maresca. Tottenham, I don't think, are there yet. And then you've got Villa. How are they going to get on with Champions League football? Newcastle, maybe one game a week, but I'm going to go Man United. I don't know what you think on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because every time I predict us to have a good season, we have a bad season. Every time I predict us to have a bad season, we have a good season. So, like, I think I predicted us to come sixth because I don't know.
Six.
Sixth, yeah. But then I also think this is the thing: if Newcastle sign a right winger in Gay and them not being European football and they stay fit, I think they can get fourth. If Tottenham bring in a solid midfielder for balance or potentially a right winger, they can get fourth. Chelsea on paper have a squad capable of getting fourth, but they just keep buying everybody with no real plan. Villa's got a good team. West Ham's got a good team. I think we can finish fourth. I think Ten Hag can finish fourth. I think we're more than capable of finishing fourth. I think we can finish in the top four, 100%. But I just have this lack of trust with injuries. You know, the fact that Yoro's already injured, Hoyland's already injured. You know, everyone's injured. I think it's so mixed that, as I said with United, I think we could finish third. I think we could finish fourth. I think we could finish fifth. I think we could finish sixth. And I think a lot of it will come down to the midfield because midfield, we look better out of possession structure-wise, but it's like, does Casemiro have a good season or not? Because if we get first season Casemiro, I think we get top four. If we get second season Casemiro and we don't sign a DM, I put us in sixth. So I've actually gotten my prediction Tottenham fourth, which might sound crazy, but
Tottenham fourth.
I've gone Tottenham fourth. And second season he always seems to push on. I don't know. Like, I think we have a better team than you. I do, but I just worry with the injuries that we get and this. I don't know.
Our injuries though, like last year, Van de Ven missed 3 months. Maddison missed 3 months. I think we're going to be a lot more dependent on Dominic Solanke than people think.
Yeah.
And the question why I don't necessarily think we'll finish fourth is we struggled in a lot of games last year due to the intensity of the system. It's so, you know, the Gargan press is relentless. Can Ange do that twice a week, a game every 4 days? In December, I think if Tottenham, or this will Man United as well, if Tottenham Man United gets to the 4th round, or it might be the 5th round of the League Cup, you could have 11 games in December, which is 1 in 3. One game every 3 days. So that would be Europa League. I mean, it's great for content creators like me and you, but at the same time, you're looking at your team going, I just don't see Van de Ven's hamstring lasting the season. Then we don't have backup left back depth with Destiny Udogie. If he got a big injury, he missed 4 months of last season.
Yeah, true.
I look at Man United. I think there's a lot more balance in your midfield with Kobe Mainoo, with Bruno, Casemiro, McTominay, Mount. I do think you need a 6, whether that's going to be Ugarte or not. We'll have to wait and see. I think you might get that done on loan.
I think we've got a better team, and I think with Ineos coming in, the recruitment's better. It's just the injuries because we had so many injuries last season that I think we know Ten Hag can finish third. It's just that, like, I now have trust issues with United. I think I'll put us fourth because I do think that Ten Hag finished third in his first season. If Lisandro Martinez stays fit, De Ligt coming in, Amad Diallo looks like he's going to have a bigger role when he's trying to preseason. I'll put us third. I'll put us fourth, sorry. I'll put Tottenham fifth because I do think that Ange has something good going on. And then I'd put Newcastle sixth. But if Newcastle do get Gay and a right winger over the line, you could debate Newcastle for fourth.
I think, I'm going to agree on the top 4. I think that top 4 is, if United don't get any big injuries, I'd back you to win silverware again as well. I don't know if it'd be the Europa League because there's some tough teams in there. Dortmund, you know, obviously we're in there, but I think when it comes down to a trophy, 99.9% of the time you'll think you'll beat us. But the Europa League is going to be a lot different this year. There's more games, but I do think you get silverware. Fifth, I'm torn between us and it's a bit of a dark horse, and I'm probably going to get a lot of eyebrows raised here. But I actually think West Ham will be a lot higher than people think because I think they've had a very, very strong window. Their manager's got a few question marks for me, but the personnel they've brought in Somerville, in Fulkrug, Wan-Bissaka, the Argentine from Real Betis. I'm going to put West Ham 6. Do you know what? I am going to back us. I'm going to flip-flop a little bit. I'm going to go us to finish 5th. And who did you say to finish 6th?
I put Newcastle 6th, just because I think the injuries they have, I think they actually, the underlying numbers would have put them 4th last season, even with all the injuries they had. So that's why I put Newcastle 6th. But again, Newcastle depends on business. I think if they sign Gay and a right winger, they can finish 6th, 5th, 4th.
Do you think Villa have got a stronger squad than Newcastle, or do you think that it's purely because Newcastle don't have Europe?
I think, one, Newcastle don't have Europe, and two, I actually think Newcastle's underlying numbers, expected goals conceded, was a lot better than Villa's, and I think they just had inconsistency because the lack of personnel, and I think with them not being in Europe, they're more likely to stay fit. So maybe I get proven wrong, but I think Newcastle finish above Villa.
I'm actually going to agree with you on that. I think Villa have got the better manager. I think Unai Emery is a very underrated coach. You know, he's amount of Europa Leagues he's won, but Villa are going to be so reliant on Watkins. How are they going to get on in the Champions? Saying that though, if Villa get knocked out of the Champions League early, kind of like Newcastle did last year, and unfortunately Man United, if they don't get out of the group, then I would kind of think, hang on, Villa maybe could push back there. But 7th, 8th, 9th, I'm going to go, I don't know what your thoughts are on this. I'm actually going to go West Ham in 7th.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair because they're not in Europe. I've gone with Villa 7th, West Ham 8th, Chelsea 9th, just because new manager as well. West Ham,
Chelsea
I think Villa
9th?
Yeah, I think Villa are a bit more established in terms of Unai
It's
Emery.
tough, isn't it? It's just too many.
It's so hard. The thing is, as I said, I think 9 to 3rd could go anyway. It depends on the transfer window. If Chelsea sign Osimhen and then bring in a top centre back, they should get 4th.
Yeah,
it sounds crazy,
yeah.
but maybe West Ham 9th and Chelsea 8th because it's new managers. But I'd put Villa 7th because I think they're like more established under Unai Emery, like they're more used to his system.
Do you know what as well? With West Ham not being in Europe and all their new signings, is there enough games for all of them to get game time? This is another thing. Their front line with Kudus, Bowen, maybe Fulker up front, maybe Somerville. There's a lot of options they've got there now, and I think that with Todibo, Kilman, Wan-Bissaka, their back four is probably not far off Tottenham's, to be honest.
Very solid, yeah.
Going forward's going to be how good are they going to be going forward from playing out from the back? Because Wan-Bissaka, fantastic 1v1 defender, but not that great going forward. Villa 7th, Chelsea 8th, West Ham 9th. I'm happy with that.
I'm happy with that, but again, that 9 to 3rd could go anyway, and I think the end of the transfer window, like if we sat here in 3 weeks, I think our opinions could be very different. But I think I'll go with that just because Unai Emery's been there a bit longer than Maresca and Lopetegui. But if West Ham finished 5th or 6th, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, especially with the 1 game week. I think this is hard as well. 10th to 20th. I think the bottom 3. Obviously, we'll do last, but I think the bottom 3 are probably going to be easier. 10th to 13th, I think, could either be Palace, Brighton, Brentford, or maybe Fulham. Fulham have made some good signings. If they're going to get Diego Carlos from Villa done, they've brought in Smith Rowe, got some good players there. Obviously, Pereira from Man United. Who are you going to go 10th?
I'm going to go 10th.
Palace?
Probably Brighton, because
Where did Brighton finish last year?
They finished like 9th or 10th last year. They finished 10th. 10th is difficult because do Palace keep Gay and Eze? That's the question.
I think they keep Eze. I don't think they keep Gay.
That's the question because Mats Wiefer's a great addition. They're signing that young baller from the Bundesliga. The Brighton's business has been good, but it's a new manager. I think, screw it. 10th Bournemouth, 11th Palace, 12th Brighton.
10th Bournemouth. What, with no Solanke? I mean, that's 42% of their goal contributions from last year.
I know it's rogue, but I think they're building.
They've got a good manager though. He's a good manager.
I really rate the manager. I think they're going to do something special. I'm gonna Bournemouth 10th, Palace 11th, Brighton 12th. Bit rogue, but I'm going for Bournemouth to have a good season.
So you went Bournemouth 10th, Palace 11th. What did you say? Brighton 13th and who 14th?
Brighton 12th.
Bournemouth 10th. So Bournemouth last year finished 12th. Brighton last year finished 11th. Palace finished 10th. But there was 1 point between Palace, Brighton and Bournemouth.
There's not much in it at all. Brighton have done the best recruitment, but they have a new manager. and they had the biggest injury issues last year. So you could put Brighton definitely 10th. Palace, I think they're building something under Glasner. I think a full season under him. You know, he only came in quite near the end. But I think just Brentford for their manager. I think I rate Brentford's manager quite highly. Not Brentford, Bournemouth, the manager.
What, Iriola, isn't it? Is it Iriola?
Yeah, I rate him. It's difficult, but I think Bournemouth, Brighton, Palace will go anyway. I just gonna.
You don't think Fulham will be up there?
No, I don't. I don't really rate Fulham, to be honest, that much.
I think their manager's half decent. I think they've made some good signs. I think they're going to be very. If Smith Rowe can stay fit, I know he's scored 2 goals in pre-season. That will be the big question mark for me. I don't think Everton will be anywhere near it. I agree with you on how it's going to be incredibly close. I just don't know if Bournemouth, with their Dominic Solanke, if they can bring in Eddie Nketiah, I know they're linked with him. I think people are going to raise eyebrows, but I think he could get 12 goals in that side. Do you know what? I'm going to go Bournemouth 10th. 11th, I'm going to... hang on.
I think we could go with that. Brighton have got better recruitment than Palace so far.
Yeah, we'll go Bournemouth 10th, Brighton 11th. Palace, they're also... Anderson, their other centre-back's being linked to a move away. That Palace team has been absolutely raided. They've tried to get Wilfred Zaha back. Wharton's obviously going to stay. No one's going to pay 80, 90 million pounds for him. Elise, Eze's been linked to move away. Gahey to Newcastle. 13th to 16th. I think Everton will finish. I'm going to go Fulham or Everton 13th and 14th. I don't know if Brentford, if Tony leaves and their new striker's just got injured. I know Thomas Frank's a half decent manager, but have they got enough in the tank?
I'm going to go Brentford 13th because even without Tony,
wow,
yeah, I just think they play much better football than a lot of the teams that finished above them last year, and they were really unlucky at times. I think I really rate Thomas Frank, so I'm going to go Brentford 13th, and then I'd actually go Ipswich 14th, which might throw people off.
Ipswich above Fulham.
Yeah, I think I know Burnley obviously played really good football. They came up, they flopped. But I think McKenna, because it's more counter-attacking rather than possession.
Yeah, it's going to be low block and then just go forward.
Yeah, and I think the signings they've made, I would put Brentford 13th, Ipswich 14th, but that is probably quite unpopular, so you're more than welcome to go something very different.
So you're going Brentford 13th, Ipswich 14th. Wow. I mean, I don't know how Brentford are going to get on with it. If Tony stays, then I reckon they'll get 13th. A fully fit Ivan Toney throughout the whole season, yeah, he could get 15, 16, 17 league goals. If he leaves and they don't bring in a striker, then I reckon there's huge red flags there. But we'll base it on the fact that he stays, because I don't think anyone's going to come in for him. I thought we would have signed him, but we decided to go and pay and get Dominic Solanke over the line. Do you know what? If they've got a fully fit Tony, then yeah. Who did you say 14th?
Ipswich. I think McKenna's style of play is a bit more suited to the Premier League adaptation than Burnley's was. So I think they're the only team that's gone up that I think could do well, because one, the signings have been the best, two, the progression.
What about Forest? Do you not think Forest would be anywhere near there?
I think they could get relegated, to be honest. I don't rate Nuno.
No, neither do I. When he was with us, Jesus Christ. It was... some of the worst football I've ever seen in my life. All right, we'll throw a dark horse in there. We'll go Ipswich to finish 14th. 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and relegation. Oh, we've got Wolves. I think Wolves will finish higher.
Oh, I put Wolves 14th, Ipswich 15th. Definitely.
Yeah, Gary O'Neill's a good coach. We'll go Wolves 14th, Ipswich 15th. 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. I definitely think Leicester and Southampton will go down.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't know if it's going to be... I personally would go Fulham, Everton, Forest.
Yeah, I completely agree with that there.
So that would be 2 promoted sides and Forest to go down.
Yeah,
Everton...
they only just stayed up as well.
Isn't there talk of Everton actually starting with a points deduction already?
There's rumours of that, and if that was the case, I'd swap them with Forest. But again, who knows? Because they had a points deduction, then they got some points back.
Sean Dyche has got a way of just about scraping above, hasn't he?
I think the Forest have better players than Everton, but I think Sean Dyche can do a better job than Nuno, and that's why I've put Everton above Forest.
Yeah, of course. He's got low block, set pieces, all that good stuff. So we'll just go from the top. So we've done, painfully, that lot down the road to win the league. City, Liverpool, United for Champions League. Europa League will be Spurs, Newcastle, Conference League, Villa. And then below that, Chelsea, West Ham, Bournemouth, Brighton, Palace, Brentford, Wolves, Ipswich, Fulham, Everton, and then the 3 to go down: Southampton, Leicester, Nottingham. Just a couple more questions. Who do you think will win the Golden Boot this year?
I think Haaland's always the safe bet. I think if Isak can stay fit, though, I think he can challenge Haaland, but I think you just have to go with Haaland.
Yeah, Haaland's a safe bet. I think Cole Palmer will be up there as well. Cole Palmer will have, Navi. That saying that, would teams have kind of worked out to kind of double up against him this year? I think that's going to be the big question. How will they get on Chelsea? I think Haaland's a safe bet. All about player of the season and young player of the season.
I feel like if we're going to say Arsenal are going to win it, I should go with an Arsenal player. So, I was thinking Odegaard for player of the season. If it goes to an Arsenal player, because it normally goes to more attacking-based players. But Phil Foden has the best PR in the Premier League. I think Cole Palmer had a better season than last year, but he always wins player of the season. He's got the best PR in the league. That if he has a top 5 season, he'll just win it. So I feel like Phil Foden's always a safe bet. But I think if I'm going to say Arsenal are going to win it, I would go with Odegaard. Saka maybe as well. I think Odegaard just has a bit more that aesthetically pleasing thing that people like. He can get hyped up a bit more. I think potentially if Man United were on it, Bruno Fernandes could be up there, but people wouldn't vote Bruno because he doesn't come across the most likeable, because I think sometimes it's about how likeable you come across. So it depends on a number of things. Like Cole Palmer, I thought should have won it last year, if I was going to be honest, like what he did for that Chelsea team. But I think if Arsenal are going to win the league, I'll go with Odegaard.
Yeah, especially with Cole Palmer's first season at Chelsea. Was it 21, 22 league goals? I'm going to go Bukayo Saka, player of the season. Or, I know it's a bit runner. I know defenders don't normally do it, but I think Saliba. I think genuinely I think he's the best centre-back in the league. I don't think you can press him. I think he's just an absolute machine. Dominant in the air. So fast. I think he could be up there. Young player of the season. Now, I don't really understand young player of the season because 23 and 24-year-olds are somehow in the conversation. I normally think it's under 21, 22. Who do you think will get young player of the season?
I think Cole Palmer is definitely up there. I think Foden can't qualify it for it next year. Saka probably still can. Palmer still can. I think there's players like Kobbie Mainoo potentially. I think Mainoo, Garnacho, Ahmad for United could all be up there. I think Ahmad's going to finally get some minutes. But it's a difficult one. I think Cole Palmer's a safe bet. But then how does he do under Maresca ball? I mean, Saka's probably a really easy safe bet, but I think he's got to that age where we should be going a year younger. I think Saka would probably be the safe bet.
I'm going to throw a rogue one out there. I'm going to go Garnacho.
Yeah, I think Garnacho could definitely be in there as well.
Yeah, he's really kind of, he looks like he's matured a lot throughout the kind of summer break. Coming off the bench, scored against Man City in the Community Shield. Didn't he score in the FA Cup final as well against City?
Yeah, he scored last game of the season and first game of the season.
Yeah, so he's kind of turning into a little bit of a big game player. I'm going to go Garnacho. If Garnacho doesn't get it, then I think, Bukayo Saka. But I don't really think this will be his 5th, maybe 6th Premier League season now. Should Bukayo Saka really be in there? For me, no. Or, this is a really, really rogue one. If he gets a lot of game time, Mikey Moore will be in there. Because he is going to be... That's one of the reasons why I don't think we're going to sign a forward. He's just signed he's just 17, just turned 17. He's just signed a professional contract with a club. I don't know if you know much about Mikey Moore, but he's going to be... I'm praying he's going to be the next thing, and I just hope we pin him down to a lifelong contract because he's going to be some player.
Yeah, I think for him it's a question of you don't know if he's going to start week in, week out like Garnacho and Saka. So that's why I wouldn't put him in there. But I think he's one of those that if they almost had a breakthrough season award where someone had their first proper season in football, like a Mikey Moore for the Trey Niones of Liverpool, like a breakthrough season award, I think Mikey Moore would be my prediction.
Yeah, the guy's got abundance of talent. Last question, dark horse. Who do you think is going to be the dark horse to the Premier League? I'm going to throw West Ham in there. I think West Ham, no European football. There's a new manager who's, managing another top league. There's no more David Moyes. There's a lot more positivity in their fan base. They've signed 5 or 6 players. Todibo, for me, will be one of the best centre-backs in the league next season. You throw him next to Kilman. You throw him next to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I actually think they've probably got as strong a front line now as Spurs with Fulkrug, with Kudus, Bowen, Somerville. I think that if Paqueta can get his kind of allegations or bans sort of lifted, I think that really puts them in a strong position. Then you've got Alvarez kind of playing 6 role. I'm going to go West Ham as a dark horse.
Yeah, for me, it'd be West Ham or Newcastle. I think they've both got really good squads and they're both not going to be in Europe. So that advantage may, help them out.
Yeah, of course. Well, look, thank you very much for joining. What sort of content have you got coming out of the next couple of days on both channels?
Just probably match reactions to some of the Premier League games coming up. Then just keep an eye on the transfer news, see what comes up. Got some sort of other stuff, probably analysis-based stuff, probably once the games get going. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the transfers, really.
Yeah, it's only 3 days away now, the Premier League season. Your team's up first. The whole world will be watching. I think you'll put 2 or 3 goals past Fulham, I'm going to be honest. But look, we are going to wrap up. Both of Alice's channels will be pinned in the description, so make sure you go over and subscribe to her. She's closing down on 100k on the Man United one. The second channel is flying as well. That'll probably be on 100k by the end of the season. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you drop a like on the way out, and we'll see you all soon. We are